is that he always gives us direction and guidance and examples that we can go to whenever we're in these types of positions. You see, where we're going to be tonight, John chapter 17, Jesus' ministry, his earthly ministry has come to a close. And the storm is not only all around him, but it is right in front of him. You see, Jesus, it's like he is trapped on every side. His region, his city, it's very imperfect. The nation, the political system, very imperfect, very funky. And Jesus is in this place where, I don't know if you've seen the movie Braveheart. Well, come on. We've all seen the movie Braveheart, right? And do you remember that scene at the end where William Wallace is, and if you haven't seen Braveheart, it's this amazing movie about when England was trying to take over Scotland, or they had basically taken over it. They were trying to breed out the Scotsmen, and the way that they did it was they when you got married, they would have basically a lord over your area would get together with your wife, and that way they could breed them out. So William Wallace, he decided to fight back, and he got this group of men to fight back with him, and they just start beating back armies. They start beating back the English army, and they start winning and winning and winning and winning, and they're beating them back, and they're trying to win their freedom back. And there's this scene that it's almost towards the end of the movie, and William Wallace is to the point where his men they've killed more men than than sand on the seashore. It's like they hadn't eaten in not only days and weeks, they were badly, just beaten. And they needed the other Scottish clans to keep on going. And his men, they said they didn't want him to go. He was trying to make a truce with the clans to come and help and to fight for freedom. And they were saying to him, William, if you go back, they're gonna turn you in. And he's staring at death, and he says, but I have to try. And that's what I think of when I was reading this chapter, John chapter 17, because they're at this place where Jesus has just, he's with his guys, he's just given them his last message, and death is literally right in front of him. And when everything kind of comes around you, when you feel like you have no place to go, and you feel like, boy, everywhere that I turn, things have been getting so funky. When things are getting dark, where is it that you turn to? Because I love what we can learn from Jesus, where he turns to in John chapter 17. So go with me, if you have a Bible, we're going to, there's about 30 or 40 things that we could pick out. I'm going to try to stick to 5. Pastor Duke told me I had 3.5 hours to preach, so I'm going to use every minute. Starts this way, verse 1. Jesus spoke these words, and he lifted up his eyes to heaven, and he said. Now before I get into it, let's just pause there for a minute. They say that this John chapter 17 is like the holy of holies when it comes to John's gospel, and I think that this is just a wonderful section of scripture, because we get to hear what Jesus is saying to the Father. And I love the way he starts it. He says, Jesus spoke these words, he lifted his eyes to heaven, and he said. And you think about what an amazing way to pray. To just lift your eyes to heaven and say, Father. It's amazing. There's so much comfort in that. That all of this chaos that was around Jesus, and he's about to be turned over, arrested, convicted of a crime that he didn't commit. And he's sitting there saying, Father. It's an amazing picture. So this is the first point that we see, is the next verse, or the end of this verse. He says, the hour has come. In an imperfect world, Jesus prays about timing. First thing that you see is he says, Father, the hour has come. Now, if you remember back in John chapter 2, remember when they're at the wedding and they run out of wine, and Jesus' mother says to him, they need your help, Jesus. And it's kind of like, oh boy, Mom, my hour has not yet come. He says it again in John chapter 7. They keep trying to push Jesus into a place that he's not supposed to be. And he is saying to them, has not yet come. But then he starts to say in John chapter 12, when he's starting to talk about the crucifixion, he then starts to change it, and he is saying, my hour has come. And right here, he goes to the Father, and he talks to him about timing. I love that because we learn that God is never early. Right? He's never early. He's also never late. God is always right on time. I remember when we were, so Megan and I, we gave our lives to Jesus on, I feel like this is coming in and out a little bit. Is it getting funky? No, we're good? Okay.